When the physical body embraces its final rest during sleep, a profound phenomenon occurs, one that happens countless times in smaller measure throughout our lives. The soul, that eternal essence of consciousness, begins its gentle separation from its temporary vessel. This process, observed across centuries of spiritual wisdom, reveals the first moments of transition between worlds. In the deepest stages of sleep, particularly during those pre-dawn hours when the veil between realms thins, the silver cord that ancient texts speak of, the energetic connection between body and soul, begins to shimmer with an otherworldly light. This cord, normally invisible to physical eyes, becomes the pathway of transition. The first perception after this separation is not of darkness, but of an extraordinary clarity. Many who have returned from near-death experiences describe a sudden awareness of being fully conscious while observing their physical form from above. This moment brings no fear, only a profound recognition, a remembering of the soul's true nature beyond physical limitation. What the departing consciousness sees is not filtered through physical eyes, but perceived through the soul's divine awareness. Colors appear more vibrant, extending beyond the spectrum visible in earthly life. Sounds transform into harmonious vibrations that communicate meaning directly to the consciousness. The soul recognizes that it has entered a state of heightened perception, where thought becomes the primary mode of movement and communication. Those who have glimpsed this realm through profound spiritual experiences or momentary crossings describe a luminous reality overlapping our own, a dimension where energy fields surround all living things, where thought forms manifest as visible patterns, and where time operates differently than in physical reality. Cayce, in his extensive readings while in trance states, described this initial transition as a releasing into the natural state of the soul. In his understanding, what we call death is merely an awakening to the soul's authentic condition, free from the limitations of matter, space, and time. This perspective suggests that rather than death being an end, it represents the soul's return to its natural state of expanded awareness. The emotional quality of this transition carries profound significance. Unlike the fear many associate with death, those who have glimpsed beyond report an overwhelming sense of peace and homecoming. The consciousness recognizes this state as familiar, more real and more natural than physical existence. This explains why those who return from near-death experiences often describe it not as entering an unknown realm, but as remembering a forgotten one. In this initial phase, the departing soul often remains close to its physical vessel, witnessing the activities surrounding it with a sense of detached compassion. It observes loved ones, medical personnel, or the quiet stillness of the room, with a new understanding that transcends emotional attachment while preserving love's essence. This period serves as a gentle transition, allowing the consciousness to acclimate to its expanded awareness before journeying further. The visual perception extends beyond physical limitations. Walls become transparent, distance becomes irrelevant, and the consciousness can focus its attention anywhere it directs its thought. This explains accounts of the departed visiting loved ones immediately after transition, offering comfort before continuing their journey. In the sacred threshold between worlds, the departing soul is never alone. As consciousness gently releases from its physical anchor, spiritual presences gather, beings of light that stand vigil during this most profound transition. These guides, appearing as luminous forms at the edges of perception, represent one of the most consistent elements reported across spiritual traditions and near-death accounts throughout human history. These beings manifest not as physical entities, but as concentrated fields of conscious light, their very essence radiating qualities that transcend earthly emotion, while somehow embodying perfect love, wisdom, and recognition. Their presence brings immediate understanding to the transitioning soul, an unspoken communication that conveys, "You are known, you are remembered, you are welcomed." The nature of these guides varies according to the soul's spiritual understanding and cultural framework. Some perceive them as ancestral presences, loved ones who completed their physical journey earlier and now return to guide the newly transitioning soul. Others experience them as angelic beings, timeless guardians who have accompanied the soul throughout multiple incarnations while remaining largely unperceived during physical life. What remains consistent across accounts is the profound recognition that occurs. The soul knows these guides, even if the physical personality never acknowledged their presence. This recognition transcends mental understanding, manifesting as an immediate knowing that resonates through the essence of consciousness itself. The guides appear not through random chance, but through spiritual resonance and divine orchestration. Each soul attracts guides aligned with its unique vibrational signature and evolutionary journey. These beings represent aspects of spiritual consciousness that the soul has cultivated through its experiences across multiple dimensions of existence. The purpose of these guides extends beyond mere comfort, though their presence invariably brings profound peace. They serve as navigators of the between realms, orienting the newly released consciousness to its expanded state, while protecting it from confusion or attachment to physical existence. Their light creates a protective field that helps the soul maintain coherence during this expansion of awareness. Ancient wisdom traditions speak of this phenomenon with remarkable consistency. Egyptian texts describe the appearance of divine presences who guide the soul through the stages of transition. Buddhist teachings reference the clear light beings who appear during the bardo state. Indigenous traditions across continents speak of ancestor spirits who gather at the moment of crossing. Modern hospice workers and medical professionals routinely report patients conversing with invisible presences in their final hours. The guides communicate not through words, but through direct transmission of understanding, thought forms that convey complete concepts instantaneously. They offer not judgment, but perfect comprehension of the soul's journey, embracing both its achievements and unresolved aspects with equal compassion. This unconditional acceptance creates a field of safety that allows the soul to release its attachment to physical identity without fear. For those whose transition occurs during sleep, these guides often appear first within the dream state, gradually transforming the dream landscape into the first stages of spiritual reality. The dreaming mind becomes the bridge between physical and non-physical awareness, allowing consciousness to shift dimensions through familiar psychological mechanisms before recognizing its expanded nature. In the most profound spiritual teachings, these guides are understood not as separate entities, but as aspects of universal consciousness taking form to help the individualized soul remember its connection to the greater whole. They represent the divine reaching toward itself, the cosmic intelligence that pervades all existence, extending a hand of welcome to a spark of itself that has completed a journey through matter. In the profound journey beyond physical existence, the soul encounters a fascinating phenomenon that spiritual traditions have documented throughout millennia. A transitional state where consciousness experiences what can only be described as the dream that does not end. This state represents a crucial bridge between dimensions, allowing the soul to gradually awaken to its expanded reality without the shock of immediate transcendence. Unlike ordinary dreams that fragment and dissolve upon waking, this state maintains remarkable coherence and continuity. The transitioning consciousness initially perceives this reality as merely an unusually vivid dream experience, often continuing the narrative threads and emotional patterns from its recent physical life. This misinterpretation serves a compassionate purpose, providing a gentle threshold between dimensions of being. What makes this state distinct from ordinary dreaming is its progressive clarity and expanding awareness. While physical dreams contain inconsistencies and surreal elements that the dreaming mind rarely questions, this transitional consciousness gradually begins recognizing subtle differences in how reality operates. Colors possess qualities beyond visual perception, carrying emotional and spiritual information. Thoughts manifest with increasing immediacy. The laws of physics respond more directly to consciousness rather than material principles. This state allows the soul to acclimate to non-physical reality through familiar psychological frameworks. Just as the eyes must adjust when moving from darkness to light, consciousness requires a period of adaptation when expanding beyond material limitations. The dreamlike state provides this necessary adjustment period, preventing the disorientation that might come from sudden immersion in pure spiritual awareness. The duration of this phase varies according to the soul's development and attachments. Those who cultivated spiritual awareness during physical existence may quickly recognize the true nature of this state, while those deeply identified with material reality might remain in this dreamlike phase longer, gradually awakening to expanded consciousness through a series of realizations rather than sudden understanding. Within this state, the soul begins noticing subtle inconsistencies that reveal its new condition. Physical limitations dissolve, the ability to move through environments by intention rather than physical means, communication occurring through direct thought transference rather than speech, the appearance of individuals from different time frames of one's life coexisting simultaneously. These anomalies gradually accumulate until the consciousness recognizes that it has entered a new dimension of experience. The moment of realization, when the soul comprehends that it is not dreaming but has transitioned to another level of reality, represents one of the most profound awakenings possible. Ancient Egyptian texts describe this as opening the eyes in the afterlife. Buddhist traditions call it recognizing the clear light of reality. This recognition brings not fear, but profound liberation, as the soul understands that what it perceived as death was merely an awakening to a more expansive state of being. What makes this realization different from physical awakening is that consciousness does not lose the continuity and awareness it possessed in the dreamlike state. Instead, that awareness expands, incorporating greater understanding while maintaining unbroken consciousness. The soul does not wake up from this state, but rather wakes up within it, transforming its perception without disrupting its experience. This phenomenon explains why many spiritual traditions emphasize conscious awareness during sleep and dream states as preparation for the death transition. By developing the capacity to maintain awareness during physical dreams, recognizing the dream state while within it, the soul develops precisely the faculties required to navigate this transitional phase with greater clarity and purpose. The qualities of thought in this state reveal much about consciousness beyond physical limitations. Thought becomes both the means of perception and the substance of creation. The soul gradually discovers that its attention shapes this environment, that its focus manifests experiences, and that its intentions create movement and change. This represents not a fantasy or hallucination, but the natural operation of consciousness when freed from material constraints. In the continuum of spiritual transition, the soul eventually finds itself within a space that transcends ordinary description, yet maintains a curiously familiar quality, what mystics and spiritual teachers have called the fourth room, or the chamber between worlds. This ethereal space, neither fully of earth nor entirely beyond it, serves as a crucial way station in the soul's journey after physical transition. What makes this space remarkable is how it appears uniquely tailored to each transitioning consciousness. The soul, operating now through pure thought and essence rather than physical senses, unconsciously creates a transitional environment that bridges its former understanding with its expanding awareness. For many, this manifests as a subtle reflection of their physical surroundings at the moment of transition, their bedroom, hospital room, or place of passing, yet transformed through spiritual qualities that transcend material limitations. The walls of this space appear semi-transparent, allowing glimpses of further realms beyond. Objects possess an inner luminosity rather than merely reflecting light. Colors convey emotional and spiritual qualities beyond their visual properties. The very substance of this environment responds to thought, reconfiguring subtly according to the soul's focus and state of consciousness. This ethereal waiting room serves multiple profound purposes in the soul's journey. Primarily, it provides a necessary adjustment period, a gradual acclimation to non-physical reality that prevents the disorientation that might accompany sudden immersion in pure spiritual dimensions. The familiar elements provide psychological anchoring, while the transcendent qualities gently introduce the soul to its expanded capabilities. Within this space, the most profound process begins, what spiritual traditions have called the life review, or soul's accounting. Unlike the judgment scenarios depicted in religious iconography, this review unfolds as a natural expansion of awareness, where the soul perceives its completed journey with remarkable clarity and compassion. Events from physical life appear not as mere memories, but as living experiences that can be entered and explored from multiple perspectives, including those of others affected by one's actions. Time operates differently in this space, allowing the soul to process a lifetime of experiences without haste or limitation. What might seem to require years in physical terms unfolds in a dimensionless present, where all moments exist simultaneously rather than sequentially. This explains why those who have glimpsed this state through near-death experiences report reviewing entire lifetimes in what their physical bodies experienced as mere minutes. The soul discovers that this review occurs without external judgment. Instead, it experiences the natural consequences of its choices through direct perception of their effects on others and on its own spiritual development. This brings both profound understanding and, often, a compassionate recognition of what remains unresolved or incomplete in its evolutionary journey. Throughout this process, the subtle sound that ancient traditions have referenced becomes increasingly perceptible, a harmonic vibration that seems to originate from everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. This sound, described variously as celestial music, the cosmic Om, or the harmony of spheres, serves as both beacon and invitation, drawing the soul toward its next phase of existence once its review and integration are complete. The duration of this waiting period varies according to the soul's development and the nature of its physical transition. Those who cultivated spiritual awareness during embodied life may move through this phase with greater ease and clarity, while those deeply attached to physical existence or departing through sudden or traumatic circumstances may require longer integration before proceeding further. What ultimately draws the soul beyond this intermediate space is not external force, but inner resonance, a recognition of harmony with the vibrations emanating from higher dimensions. When consciousness has completed its integration and resolved its immediate attachments to physical existence, it naturally attunes to these higher frequencies, allowing transition to more expansive realms. This understanding reveals why spiritual practices across traditions emphasize consciousness, expansion during physical life. By developing awareness of non-physical dimensions while embodied, the soul creates pathways of familiarity that serve it during transition. The practices of meditation, contemplation, and conscious dreaming are not merely techniques for enhanced living, but preparation for this most profound journey. The wisdom revealed through deep spiritual insight suggests that what we perceive as death represents not an ending but a threshold, not a diminishment of consciousness, but its expansion beyond the necessary limitations of physical existence. In this understanding, the soul never truly dies, but rather awakens to increasingly real dimensions of being, continuing its eternal journey of evolution and return to source consciousness. If these spiritual insights have illuminated your understanding of the soul's journey beyond physical existence, take a moment now to subscribe to this channel. Your subscription ensures you'll receive more profound spiritual teachings that mainstream sources rarely discuss. Share your own experiences or questions in the comments below. Your perspective may help others on their spiritual journey. Remember, wisdom grows when shared among seekers. Click the notification bell to be first to receive our upcoming revelations about consciousness, spiritual realms, and ancient wisdom for modern times. The path to higher understanding begins with a single step. Subscribe now and join our community of spiritual explorers.